afternoon, good day. Good day. It is Thursday. That's the only title. So it was suggested to me at the beginning of these tea time conversations that I put a title. Hey, Darlene, that I put a title on my tea time talks. Sometimes I don't have a title. Sometimes the most I have is the day of the week. That's the most I have. And how do we come on Thursday after that mess of a debate yesterday? Good morning, Stacy. Lesson to the rest of the tea family. Yes. Let's talk about that debate yesterday. Let's talk about that. What I really want to talk about with it is, good morning, Tobiah. Good morning. I want to really have us think about how we see things. I think, good morning, Rose. I think at this tea time table, we all stand for what's right. This is my right. This is my right. Do you mean over there? What's the mess? Look, don't be calling out my mess, girl. I told y'all I got to get stuff together. I had to move my regular office space into my baking space. I had to repurpose my baking space to an office space because I'm not doing as much baking right now. And so therefore, I haven't finished organizing it, Darlene. Dang, why you got to call me out like that? So over here is everything that is all of my knitting and Etienne's candle stuff and boxes that are for packaging. So we're going to break the boxes down and put them up in the attic and clear this space up. Over here, this is not really a mess. This is organized. These are all baking supplies. My just a gob of baking things like measuring cups and spoons and spatulas and all kinds of and probably about 50 different flavorings for cakes and for cakes and cupcakes. So this is all baking stuff, and this is all just boxes, just packaging. Thank you. It will be organized very soon, but I have to have the energy to do that. You see, these are my baking cups, and you see more baking cups here. Baking cups. So this is my supplies for my baking stuff. Anyway, so there, calling out my mess. For real, darling. Dang. Anyway, I know I need to look though, for real, when I was positioning the camera, I was like, okay, Kai, for real, come on. That's a mess behind you. Get that mess together. It will get together, but I got to figure out how, I had to repurpose. The boy is at home for school. I'm at home for work, and I'm having to repurpose space in this little bitty house. So it is what it is. Anyway, on to today's conversation about that mess of this mess of an election that we're working through right now. Okay, I'm organizing my kitchen for the... See, thank you. I just got to get it all organized. It's actually not trash, just so you understand that. It's not trash. It's just mess. I mean, it's packaging. This is what happens when you have multiple entrepreneurial endeavors coming out of your household. I know, Darlene. I thank you for calling me out for it, because I do need to be called out to be held accountable. Right. I know. Thank you. I appreciate it. Grandmama be at the table talking about, excuse me, that uniform is not looking right today. What's going on with your uniform? Like, what's going on? We don't just keep each other's minds intact. We keep each other's space intact. Like, what's going on with this mess? Get it together. But this is what happens when you have multiple entrepreneurial endeavors going on in one little bitty space. I have realized that when I buy my house, when I'm searching for a new house, I have got to have a creative space. I have to have a large space, most probably a basement, where I can have my knitting and my sewing and my crafting, and the boy can have his crafting. And if my mom is living with me, she needs to have her jewelry area. I mean, we are a bunch of entrepreneurial fools and crafty mofos, okay? And we need space for our crafting, or else it looks like this. So anyway, back to this election. Yesterday, after looking at the debate, I actually missed some of the debate because I didn't remember that it was yesterday that the debate was going on. And my son, as I was sending him to bed, trying to actually start to get to bed on time, he said, "Mom, there's the vice presidential debate is today." I'm like, "What?" We were about 20. I was about 20 something minutes late coming in, so I missed the first 20 or so minutes of the debate. But after the debate, I was looking at a lot of different comments. And, one way to frustrate yourself is to look at these comments on Facebook and on all Twitter, Facebook, whatever way that you look at social media, to look at the comments. And there's a very distinct line that's drawn, right? You have people who are for Biden and Kamala and who see nothing wrong with what Biden and Kamala have done or are doing or are saying. And everything that Trump and Pence say is stupid. It's stupid. It's their embassies. Good morning, Steve. And then you have people who are for Trump and Pence. And no matter what they say, everything they say is golden, and anything that is said by the other is garbage. And what bothers me is that we are all looking at the same thing. We are all seeing and hearing the same things. And yet we come up with two totally polar opposite opinions. Polar opposite. Trump and Pence are the devil. Devils, right? Biden and Kamala are the devils. Will there ever be a time? Is there ever a group of people? Yeah, flies did like the garbage. You know what was so funny? Is that I saw that fly land, and then it stayed there for so long, I'm like, that can't be a fly. Flies don't just hang out like that. They don't just land on a person. And they might land on an object and stay for a minute. But they don't land on a person and stay for 5 minutes. So I'm like, okay, it must have been a fleck of something that has dropped from the ceiling that's staying there. That cannot be a fly. Of course, all the comments later say, yes, it was a fly, and it makes sense. It was a fly. Makes you question. Maybe he's full of whatever, right? Or he's dead. He looked dead. He looked lifeless. And maybe that fly thought he was lifeless. But the biggest concern that I have, and no, not until the near earth is created. Yeah. The biggest concern that I have is that we are all looking at the same thing and seeing absolutely different things. And it is so very sad for me, so very sad that, it speaks to everything. For every situation that we are in, there's your truth and my truth and the truth. There's your side, there's my side, and somewhere in the middle is the truth. The problem is people only see their side. They would not criticize their own candidate. Because I tell you what, when I heard Kamala say that Joe Biden will take $10,000 off of student loans, what the hell is that? What is $10,000 when you owe 100 or 2 or 3 or 4, depending, right? What is $10,000? That's That's like saying, I'm going to take a penny off of that for you. It's not $1, it's 99 cents. What's the difference? I still can't pay. Doesn't mean that I'm not for Kamala and Biden. Absolutely, I am. Most importantly, I'm against Trump. Most importantly, I'm against what Trump stands for, what he embodies. But the interesting thing, yeah, how about dropping the interest off past loans? Right, because I tell you what, if you're going to now say that people get to go to college for free, what about all those people who put themselves in the poorhouse trying to pay for college? How about we get some reprieve, right? How about we wipe out some of that so I can buy the house I really want? Not the house that I'm going to get because my student loans are ridiculously high, but I'm going to get the house so I can get the house I really want. 10K is a good start. It's 10K less than what you owe. 10K is nothing. You can leave that 10K. Take off 100K. How about that? Take off 50K. I hear you, but 10K isn't even the interest. I don't really know. I'm just saying something. I hear you, Steve, but it's nothing. That does nothing. That doesn't even put a dent in my student loans. Not even a slight dent, not even a bump. Okay. So you can keep your $10,000. Give me something else. Give me something else. If you're going to for the marijuana, right? If you're going to legalize marijuana, or you're going to wipe out all of the charges for people who were sent to jail on marijuana charges, you're going to wipe out. You're going to, what is that? Expunge the record of those individuals. How about you expunge my record? Is it expunge? Is that the right word? Right. Thank you, Rose. 10,000 is nothing. I'm going to need you to expunge the record of my student loans. If you can expunge the record of the marijuana convicted, I need you to expunge it because now it's illegal. Expunge. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you. I knew I was close. If someone sent you a 10K check today, you would send it back. Steve, I hear you. It is not enough. It is not a dent. If I needed a ride to Baltimore and somebody said, Kai, I can get you to Silver Spring, what the hell is that? I still need to get to Baltimore, not Silver Spring. I need my student loans. Good morning, Adrian, coming in with some knowledge. Thank you so much, helping me out. Thank you so much. I need more than that. Don't hand me pennies when I need dollars. YouTube died and now I can't hear you over here coming back. Oh, okay. All right, Rose. I hear you, Steve. It is a start, but it's not enough. It's not the start we need. San Francisco is allowing citizens of residents of San Francisco to go to junior college for free. They are now saying that people whose families' income are less than X amount of money, less than 125, is that what they said? Or 120, something like that, but less, I think it was 125, would go to school for free. Well, my family's income wasn't 125 when I paid an arm and 5 legs to go to college. So therefore, and when I was taken advantage of from the financial aid advisors who just let me borrow and suggested that I borrow, right? I didn't know. I was a young, stupid kid. Expunge that. You're going to go back and correct wrongs. Correct that wrong. So I hear you, Steve. And 10,000 is 10,000, but 10,000 does nothing. 10,000 doesn't help my debt to income ratio when I'm trying to buy a house. 10,000 doesn't change my student loan monthly payments significantly enough that I can afford it, reasonably afford it. So I hear you, but no, not in my opinion, no. Right, and they never helped you with work study. Right. Ask the student who owes 40K. I don't have to ask the student who owes 40K. I can ask this past student who owes over 100K, over 150K. I don't care about that $40,000 student. Y'all living large. You living large. With 40K, you can still buy the house you want to buy. can't buy the house I want to buy. I can't buy I have people with my income. I should be able to buy whatever the hell I want to buy. Within reason. I ain't trying to get $1 million house, right? I have people making less money than me who can afford to buy bigger, better, more. If my student loans went out in a way, I could still be living in California. I could have bought a home in California that would fit my family in it. With my student loans? Okay, Rose, I think I'm over you. I think I'm over 100. What was mine? 280 something, 250 something? I don't even remember. I tried very hard to forget, to not think about that number because it's unreasonable. They never allowed you to get grants when you became an adult. So we were wrong. The point is that one thing that she said doesn't sit well with me. It's not enough. Now, does that mean I'm not going to support Biden and Harris? No, I still support them, but I don't like you talking about $10,000. And I'm okay with saying that. Do I like the facial expressions of Harris? Kamala Harris. Look, I was about to say a different word. Anyway, did I like her facial expressions? Sure. Why? They were real. I don't have a problem. Now, some of it was a little bit too much, but let's think about that. Trump can get up there and smirk and smirk and smirk and interrupt and smirk and interrupt and roll his eyes 1,000,000 times, and not one of his people will have anything negative to say about that. But let Kamala get up there, not interrupt most of the time, not interrupt. Have a little bit of facial expressions to represent her thoughts and feelings. And oh my God, she's such a nasty woman. Women on these comment threads blasting Kamala for expressing herself, for not kowtowing, for not bowing down and accepting anything that Pence threw her way, for claiming her time. She's a nasty woman. Some woman was on there saying my mother would consider her rude. Well, your mother is so outdated. My mother considers a lot of the things I do rude. Does that mean that I live according to my mother's philosophies? No, that's fine. That's fine. My grandmother might consider somebody rude. My grandmother used to tell me that women should not work out. Women should not lift weights. Now, my grandmother ended up with osteoporosis. Maybe had she lifted some weights. Now, y'all know I love my grandmother. But maybe had she lifted some weights, she would have increased her bone density. And she would have not ended up with osteoporosis. Possibly. But women were not supposed to lift weights because lifting weights makes you big and bulky, and that's for men. That's not for women. So do we live today in 2020, do we live according to what our born in 1908 or 1918? When was my grandmother born, Elaine? 1918? 1911? Do we live according to those outdated ideas of womanhood? Do we live according to the idea that women should not interrupt a man? They should be talked down to? I thought it was a bit much for her to say, you're not going to lecture me on this. A little bit much. But I like how real she is. I like that she gets off her plane in some Timberlands. Like, gone girl, because those heels. We talked about that yesterday. You got to take care of your feet. Get out of the heels. That's what they say about Black women all the time. Exactly. Oh, exactly. First of all, that's what they say about women. Don't be a Black woman, because now they're going to double down. They're going to double down on her nasty and sassy. They say we are hard to get along with. Well, sometimes, Rose, sometimes we are. Sometimes we are, because we ain't going for the okie doke. I don't care what the roaches say. I'm spraying hella raid November 3rd. I killed a roach with my ballot Monday. I don't really know what the roach reference is, Steve. They say we're nasty. We have tact. We lack tact. We don't have tact. Your mother may take issue sometimes with some of your language, but for the most more than happy with your ability to stand up and be counted. I know, Mom. I know, Mom. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes the way I say and what I say may not be what you agree with, but it's me. And it's me today. I'm not living according to 1918 rules, 1950 rules. I'm not living according to that. And for those women who want us to still live according to that, there's a problem. Man, did y'all drink the Kool-Aid? That's not hard to get along with if we don't take mess. That's true. It is, Rose. In their sense, to them it is. I mean, when you're used to women who will just do and say whatever you want them to do or say, and then you have these women who come along like, because we have had to carry the Black family. And then there's people on these feeds talking about Kamala is not Black because her daddy doesn't claim to be Black. Her daddy is Jamaican. He is not Chinese Jamaican. He is a dark-skinned Black Jamaican. And they posted this article about how Jamaicans do not consider themselves African Americans. Well, duh, because they ain't in America. They're in Jamaica. But I don't know a Black person in this world that is not a descendant or connected in some way to Africa. As a matter of fact, all of us are connected to Africa. Some of y'all just light-skinned it. Some of y'all extra light-skinned it. Race is, we are reading the book Caste. Race is a social construct. There is nothing scientific about race. It is a social construct. You have people, look, my mama's not Black if you put her next to me. We have so many different colors in the Black race. So many different colors. And there are people in my family who are whiter than white. I look at them and I'm like, wait, did she marry into the family or is she biologically connected? I can't tell because she light as hell. Light, bright, almost white. I have some white in my family. I have some Black in my family that is whiter than the white friends and family that I know. And I have some whites in my family that is Blacker than the whites that are out there. I mean, come on, man. Good morning, Suli. She was on point, and her expressions and ability to meet him head on was exactly what it should have been. Right. I loved her expressions. Her expressions were real and not rude or disrespectful, just real. Remember the guy you dated that had blue eyes? Girl, why you got to remind me? Yes, I do. Dark is my computer screen when it's not on. Black is my computer screen with bright blue eyes. How you remember that, darling? How you remember that? We have work to do. We have work to do as a society. And the hard thing for me is that nobody is remembering what they're talking about. They're talking about packing the courts. We live in such a hypocritical society. Such a hypocritical. Was he ugly, Rose? Because that's terrible. But the guy I dated, he wasn't pretty at all. He was not. He had a good personality. But he was not cute at all. Because if he was ugly and short and well, he wouldn't be short to you. He'd probably be tall to you. Might have been the same guy. How many of those are out there? We live in such a hypocritical society. Such a hypocritical society. Obama tried to nominate a Supreme Court justice 11 months before his term was up. And Mitch McConnell would not entertain, would not even consider, would not hold a hearing to even consider Obama's nomination because it was an election year. Election year. 11 months prior to the election, an election year. Now 27 days out, you're going to consider Trump's nomination because it's the president's obligation. But you want to talk about packing a court. You want to talk about packing a court when the only thing that you have done is put people on these federal courts that support your ideologies. You have packed the courts over the past 4 years. You have packed the courts. But now you want to call to the carpet Biden and Kamala so for maybe, possibly wanting to pack the courts. I remember the LA family reunion, and I walked in the room, came back out, and told my mom that was the wrong room because it was full of white people. Right? I'm sorry for remembering that for you. Yeah, darling, you was tripping. Her expressions were the best way for her to address his lies without interrupting him, right? Kamala made Pence Pete. He got an intro class into debating a black woman. And then you have people saying, well, it's a debate. It's a debate. So he interrupted her. So no big deal. That's what a debate is. Have any of you, and not you at the table, but have any of you who are talking about that's what a debate is, have you ever actually had a debate? Because I was on the debate team in high school. You don't interrupt people. That's not what a debate is. You get your time, they get their time, and then that's it. You get your time to make your point. Then they get their time for the rebuttal, and that's it. There's no interruptions. There's no talking over. There's no going over your time. We practice for weeks and weeks before our debates to make sure that we can keep our arguments succinct so that we could get to the point of our argument, answer the question, get to the point quickly in our allotted time. Don't go over. You lose points for going over. That is not what a debate is. You got all these mofos out there talking about that's what a debate is. You don't know what a debate is if that's what you think it is. If the rudeness, the unruliness. And the interesting thing is that Pence just talked over that moderator like she wasn't even there. At least Trump talked over the people as if he knew he was talking over somebody and he knew he was being rude and he was just going to continue talking. Pence was like Chelsea Macadocious, looking at people like they're not even there. Pence talked over her like she was not there. Same tone, same inflections. Just keep on talking. As if there's nobody in the room saying, hey. At one point, if I were the moderator, I'd be like, hey, sir, I said enough. Mr. Vice President, you need a black woman up there or any single parent. It doesn't even have to be a black woman. It could be a white woman if she's from the South that came home and told her kids to have the house ready and walked in and the house is not ready. That's who you need sitting at that table. Dinner is not out. The food has not been taken out of the freezer. Your homework is not done. I said, your time is up. That's who you need being the moderator. All these folks out there. Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Thank you. Ain't no thanking you. Right, Adrian. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't take a black person. It takes any person raised right needs to be up there telling, sir, enough. Yes, it's a circus. That's not how debates are supposed to go exactly. Those are the ignorant people exactly. Further, he literally dismissed the commentator like she wasn't even there. Mom, he didn't even dismiss her. He just completely ignored her. Completely. I mean, you have to, in order to dismiss somebody, in my thoughts, you have to recognize them as being there. It was like he didn't even recognize there was anybody else in the room. There was anybody giving instructions. Just keep on talking. And what's so interesting is that you could tell Kamala is not used to being rude like that, because when she tried to talk over the commentator, there was some hesitation sometimes. And I said, see, she's not used to having to be that rude. She's not used to having to talk over people or being comfortable. She's not comfortable talking over people. You could see that in how she talked over the comments. She did sometimes. And quite frankly, I was glad when she did, because if you don't, honey, you're not going to get a word in, because he's just going to overrun everything. That's that racism, and I've experienced that mess. They don't look at you right, like Ryan and I did. Yes, exactly. Or your stepmom, Rose. Like, let your stepmom be there. Exactly. They need Kamala oozed confidence, not defensive, just prepared. Loved it. Right, right, right. But people are not ready for that. People are not ready for a woman. First of all, let's be clear. Sorry, excuse me. Let's be clear. Kamala has 2 strikes against her. Kamala is, well, 3 really. Kamala is half black, half Asian, Indian, and she's a woman. She's a she. So even if she were a white woman, we saw it with Clinton. She would get dismissed and be called, because she's assertive and educated, she would be called nasty and aggressive, doing the same things. And you and I, every woman at this table has dealt with this mess, black or white, every woman or anything in between, every woman at this table has dealt with that mess. And Adrian, if you haven't dealt with it, honey, it's coming, because you're young. So I'm saying maybe you haven't dealt with it quite yet, but it's coming. And maybe you dealt with it too. Don't be a young woman at the table. A young woman at the table, a woman at the table. So if you're young, you're a woman, you're first woman, young, black, or anything other than white. Nobody cares what you have to say. No matter how you say it, you are a bitch. No matter how you say it, you are nasty, rude, and disrespectful. No matter how you say it. And you can say it the exact same way. You can go head to head with a man. Head to head. And that man is okay. That man is justified. That man is doing what he's supposed to do. But you, on the other hand, no. You are rude. You are disrespectful. You are a nasty woman. Trump said it best today when he called her a monster. Again, what women, especially in business, have to deal with all the time, right? We are still stuck in the 40s. Some of us, not all of us though. And the sad part is that we are not stuck in the 40s. We are not stuck in the 40s. We are holding ourselves in the 40s. We, women are holding ourselves to a different standard than we hold men. We are destroying our own positions. We are beating up each other for standing up and having a voice, calling each other bitches and aggressive and mean, nasty monsters. We are doing that to ourselves. Good morning, Chelsea Macadocious. Women are being repressed, but we are repressing ourselves, Rose. Do you know how many women's comments I've read about how Kamala was? Women beating up on Kamala. It's a sad situation when you see black people tearing black people down. It's a sad situation when you see gays tearing gays down. It's a sad situation when you see women tearing women down. We are working against our own interest. We are working against our own interest because they are still stuck. Yes, Rose, right. We are working against our own interest. And how do we get us to see that? Some women are, not all on. Yes, of course, not all, Mom, of course, because look at us at the table. We are a multicultural table, and not one of us is trying to hold another one of us back. I love that my white sisters and brothers and adopted children come to the table. I love that. I love that this table is not just about black. It isn't. I am what I am, and I'm going to call it like I see it on a regular basis. But I love having these conversations with the lens that I wear and being able to have the conversations with those others at the table with the lens that they wear. so that we recognize there's your side, there's my side, and somewhere in the middle there is the truth. We are at this table doing the work that we need to do. And if we are doing the work at this table, then I'm pretty sure that this is spilling off into the rest of our worlds. And we are doing this work outside of our table. We are opening the minds of our friends and loved ones as we continue to do our work on ourselves. But it is a sad, 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 sad situation when you watch stuff like you watched yesterday, when I watch it and then I hear the commentary after the fact, and I'm like, what were they watching? What did they see? Why are we still tearing we? Why are we still tearing us down? Why? When I use the term roaches, I'm speaking. Oh, okay. I don't have time to type in all of the others. My convo is short. I mean percentage. They have been conditioned and don't know they are still stuck in the past. Right. That's true. Kai, this is why half of teaching art and the reason for my book is because so many women are so damaged and just need to begin to recognize their own power. And even mom, to recognize that it is okay for them to have power. Yes, but human condition is so sad. Those that are stuck, they don't realize they need help. Yeah. And we have to walk next to these people every day. We have to see them in the grocery store. We have to see them at the gas station. We have to see them in the boardrooms. We have to see them at the hospitals. You know, if we're going to work, I don't mean that we're sick. We have to interact with these people on a regular basis. And now Trump is trying to suggest that the suburbs are going to be taken. What suburbs? Where do the suburbs even really exist? Now, I know I lived in suburbia in Marin County, but for real, we had the same ideas, concepts as everybody else. You know, that's code for Black people getting ready to take over your community. That's code for poor people are getting ready to come in and take over. And you don't want those others in your community, so vote for me. They won't reach for help. They reject the help they need because they believe they are okay. Right. They don't recognize their own condition. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, guys. A lot of work. And sometimes I don't want that work. Sometimes I'm tired. I'm exhausted. The work I need to be doing is organizing this mess so Darlene doesn't call me out on tea time talking about, what's that mess behind you? The more we stand up, the more they begin to see they too can rise. Mom, some people are just walking around with forever blinded. I think that there are some of us who just don't want to ever see their own ability to rise. There are some of us who just don't aspire to rise. Right, that's selfishness when you don't want to share your knowledge or let other people of different cultures and incomes, etc. Right. Thank you, Rose. So guys, we have a lot of work to do. We are down to 26 days before the election. 26 days. And I still need to get myself a new ballot for that dang mistake that I made. And I'm mad because these folks haven't called me back. I put myself on the wait to get a call back. They didn't call me back. I need a new ballot, people. I need a new ballot. Anyway, do the work. It's like a man who is verbally abusive to a woman. He keeps telling her that no one will want her but him. After a while, she starts to... You know what to buy. You just hit a sore spot. An ex of mine who wanted to marry me very desperately. And I wasn't willing to marry somebody who had issues. He had issues that he needed to address before I was going to marry him because I loved him. I was desperately, deeply in love with this man. But you got issues and you need to address those because us getting married is not going to save. It's not going to correct your issues. It's not going to get better just because we're married, right? He told me one time, he's like, you're not getting any younger, Kai. Well, what the hell does that mean? Does that mean I'm supposed to just take you with your issues because I'm not getting younger? I should just settle for? And at a certain point, as much as that did not sway me, it did sit in my mind. The control, the power that people's words have over other people is important. I'm strong enough to recognize that he was a fool for even saying something like that. But there are a lot of people who don't recognize that someone else is being foolish. Very insecure man. We still see it to this day. My mentor taught me, don't waste time on those who don't want help. Focus on those who want to rise. Chelsea says, my statistics teacher said that she believed the woman's place was in the kitchen. You need another teacher. Makes no sense. It contradicts her position as a teacher, but also not something she should mention as someone who educates others, including young women. You should have said that to her. And if you didn't, you need to send her that message. Kai, they aren't going to call you back. You must go to the voting office to handle your ballot. Yeah. If they don't, I'm going to show up. I'm going to show up. I will. I'm going to show up at the polls for early voting if I don't get a new ballot in the mail. I did request another ballot, but I'm not sure if there wasn't a way to request a new ballot. There was just a way to request a ballot. So I'm not sure if they will register that it's a new request since they already sent me a ballot. Either way, I will go and I will vote, period. If I got to show up at the polling place with my apocalyptic mask on, I will do that. Don't you worry about me. It's going to happen. Anyway, Chelsea, you need to send that teacher a note. When you are involved with someone who does not love us, we are not in love, because love is only real when both parties are involved. Oh, you can be in love with somebody who doesn't love you. It's not right, but I think you can. In middle school, I was told girls are supposed to be seen and not heard. I told the teacher that today was a new day. Right. Tell her she can stay in the kitchen. Right, Chelsea, you need to send that teacher a note. Look and see how to correct your ballot if you make it. You can't. You're not supposed to. It says, I did. It says that, if you make a mistake or stray mark, you may ask for a new ballot. Do not cross out or erase, or your vote may not count. So I don't want to try to make any corrections. I want to get a new ballot. But the key is it doesn't tell you how to request a new ballot. That's the thing. These dang Maryland folks. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for joining in on this conversation. I know we get frustrated sometimes watching these things, and it's just nice to be able to release, to just come to the table and talk about it. If you show up at the polls, it will be considered a conditional vote. I'm gonna call them again today. This time I'll hold, because I had the option to hold or wait for a call back. This time I'll hold. I got time. I'll just put the phone down and let it sit for an hour while I'm holding a provisional vote. Okay. So, all right, I'll call again today and make sure. Right, Chelsea. Pam says that professor should be reported. Okay, guys, I need to say one thing before I get off of here, because Pam is here with us today. So I want to give Pam some love. So y'all know Pam broke her toe. I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing with her. There's a difference. Oh, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's right. That's right. Pam broke her toe. And Pam, we had a whole conversation yesterday about protecting our feet. So I want you to go back and listen to yesterday's conversation. You need to get yourself some shoes. I did look up. I'm just kind of following up on yesterday, and then I'm going to go. So first of all, I want us to keep Pam in our thoughts, to keep her feet safe. Darlene broke her toe, so we're going to keep Darlene in our thoughts to keep her feet safe. Rose is still dealing with her broken ankle. And yes, of course, my foot is still sore. I am in my regular shoes now, but my foot is sore. So I'm going to go and have the doctor, a podiatrist or an orthopedic person, just look at it and make sure it's healing properly. Anyway, I looked up some things on shoes. Get some Crocs. Now, they're the ugliest shoes. That's why they'll be perfect for you to wear in the house. Get some Crocs. They got a little bit of solid enough. Pam, you didn't have to do that to show Kai love, right? Right. Apparently, Suli was asking, is this what we need to do to be at the table with Kai? Hurt yourself. I feel the love anyway. You ain't got to break your toes for me. But I'm with you, Pam. Be careful, guys. Be careful. Make sure you protect your feet. Thank you, my broken toe sister. That's right. That's right. I love y'all. Y'all so funny. And thank you so much. Shut up, Steve. Shut up. You forgot Darlene, Steve. You forgot Darlene. There's 4 of us at the table with some jacked up feet. Anyway, I love you guys. You fill me up. I can be so frustrated with everything that's going on in life. I come to this table and y'all crack me up. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We need some good laughs. Take care. Take care. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. Keep your distance. Keep your feet safe, your back safe, your arms safe. Keep everything safe and keep your mind safe most of all. Right now, protect your mental space. Protect your mental space. Thank you, Rose. I'm going. But I already ate today, so I ate a late breakfast, so I don't need to have lunch. So I don't need to eat, so I'm all right. I'm all right, Rose. Thank you very much. Anyway, have a great day. I will see you guys here tomorrow.